transformed by the renewing of our mind. And so he comes to do that. Your mind's supposed to be transformed. But what we have done in the church, we made God so little, made him so small, that when God deals with you, it's just something you just say, just something you, yeah, God dealt with me. No, he didn't. That's just you. It's time to come up. If you want to experience the glory of God, has nothing to do with church. Understanding of who God made you to be. And so that understand that you have a small perspective of who you are. Because your flesh has taught you how to only see things by what you see. That's totally the opposite of our word. The church of God has to get back to his word. And his word is super spiritual. It's not what you see. It's actually, there's spiritual warfare going on above your head for your life. And you think it's a person when he told you we wrestle not against flesh and blood. While you looking at somebody and thinking they're your problem, they're not your problem. Whoever you think your problem is just a reflection of what's in you. You can only draw to you what's in you. But in your life, you've been taught to do the Hannah thing. You've been taught to do the Hannah thing. Something's wrong with everybody else. Something wrong with everybody else until Hannah sat down and got with God and recognized, hold up, I'm loved, I'm cared for, and I don't even know it. Until she realized her problem was inside of her. And when she got with God and dealt with herself, her problems disappeared. She didn't have the same problems anymore. So who was the problem? What is our motto here? Our motto here is, it's me, and it's always me. That thing is growing, and more inside of me than ever, that you are your only problem. Oh, you hate to admit it. I know you think somebody else did so much to you. I know you think somebody always doing something to you, making you do this and making you do that. And no, you just attracting what you are. You just mad at you. I pause when I want you to swallow something. You're just fighting with you. And so now it's time to stop fighting. Somebody saying just be. And just be. Don't be standing, let me get your butt on up here. He just walked in the back. I was just warming up the crowd before you came in. But like I was saying, we had lunch and I ended up having a session for myself and thought I was going to breakfast. And I left his presence with another understanding, another perspective on what I thought I seen. And so the reason why I know God was involved, it was because I immediately changed. I immediately had the power to move. I immediately had the energy. I think it's connected with already being in divine alignment of God. Most of the times when God deals with me, he always deals with me, then somebody comes and co-signs. And so my spirit was ready to receive the higher of God, the higher of God, the relationship with God. And so I'm so excited because I think I needed some food. It was like, Nate, I'm taking you to another level. And I'm like, where can I find another level? Where is the another level? And God was like, it's in you. Dig into you and deny something else. Dig into you and submit somewhere else. And as you submit somewhere, I elevate you. Anybody feel like they're going to grow this year? Well, look at whoever's sitting next to you, say, look within. Tell them the devil can't stop you. The people you think that they enemy, your enemies can't stop you. The only thing that can stop you is you. God gave you the authority, you the dominion, and so you can be exalted or you can kill yourself. It's up to you. And so since it's 7:30, we good. We can go right into presenting the young man. I don't know if he live in Cleveland or live in California. So I want y'all to just stand on your feet and just honor him as he come, Mr. Jonathan Butler. How y'all doing this evening? Taking it one moment at a time. Hey, Reverend. Pardon my tardiness, but it's not an excuse. His phone won't stop ringing. And what that shows is that we have a lot of hurt people looking for answers, people looking for a solution. And unfortunately, we've been taught to look outside ourselves. But every answer that we need, every question that we have, can be found right here. We will be still and know that we're going to God. So, I just want to take a moment to just so that I can connect with each one of you. I never have a set agenda. It will be my agenda. So I just move how Spirit moves with me with the people here. That way everybody goes home with something that was okay. So we just want to take a moment and just breathe for a second. Let's just thank God for this moment, this opportunity. So it is. How many of you guys know that God always has a ram in the bush? So, now I'm not going to say Pastor told me to talk about alignment. It's not his thing these days. But that was the nature of our conversation about being in divine alignment. So today I want to plant a seed. Hopefully it'll take root today, and maybe tomorrow we might have some fruit, but if not, it's always tomorrow. But if we plant the right seed in the right soil, we will have a harvest. So one of the things I want to plant in your mind initially, first of all, how many of us have a particular dis-ease going on in our body? Do you know why? Alignment. Or in this case, a misalignment. But I want to share with you something that God moved on me, and I started teaching this a while ago, because when you live in a question, then you get to see all the infinite possibilities show up on your behalf. You get to see just how much God loves you, but you have to ask the right question. So the question that I want to plant today is, dis-ease, what are you here to teach me? Or we want to be interactive today. Disease, what
are you here to teach me? So who want to be first to jump out there? Who want to talk about their dis-ease? Yes, ma'am.
But I just keep feeling like this mucus up in here, and it's
Okay.
like it clogs up, like when I'm breathing sometimes and talking and trying to sing and all of that.
Okay. So it's affecting your lungs. It's mucus, right? And then I think I heard a generational piece in it. This runs in our family, or certain ones in our family have this condition. Grandma. Okay. So I do this piece called, and I'm in this interactions and whatever other interactions we have, pay close attention because I'm going to give you more than what the subject matter is. I'm just letting you know what's coming. So on the basic level, we're dealing with mucus, right? So there's a piece that I teach about the 7 sins of civilization, okay? In that 7 sins, hydrogenated oils, sugar. Yeah, I might as well give you those. You might as well write these down. Hydrogenated oils, sugar, milk, enriched flour, salt, and red meat. All of those are highly mucus forming foods, especially the milk. So for your particular question, I'm going to focus in on the milk and the flour because those two really create that mucus that builds up in those lungs. How many of you knew that milk was the cow's blood without the red corpuscles? Okay, third of the people, good. Fourth of the people, good. Yeah, milk produces mucus instantaneously. Milk also, once it hits your system, it begins to cause a buildup around what's called the parathyroids. Your parathyroids are beneath your thyroid, okay? The parathyroid, one of its primary functions is to keep the calcium in solution in your body so your body can absorb it when it needs it. But what happens, milk causes it to calcify as it's leaching it out of your bones. So you get the popping and the rheumatoid arthritis and the inflammatory joints. That's because of the milk. So if you need a visual, just visualize Billy the goat and Bella the cow. Where's the goat? All over the place. The cow is stationary, right? One of the primary reasons for that, and this is actually a nugget for you too, because all we need to do is put a bunch of organic sodium in the body and it sweeps mucus out. Goat's milk and dehydrated goat's milk is probably one of the best ways to do that. Strawberries is another thing also to sweep that mucus out. But the dehydrated goat's milk is perfect. It tastes like Ovaltine. You just heat it up and drink it, and the mucus comes running out. But how long does it take for a calf to reach maturity? Or from 75 pounds to 300 pounds? Hmm? A little longer than that. That would be a super cow. About a year. goes from 75 pounds to 300 pounds. But the mother only allows that cow to drink milk for 6 weeks approximately. So how is this calf supposed to go from 75 pounds to 300 pounds in a year's time? Grass. So it's getting its calcium from the grass. But we let Shaq tell us that milk does the body good. And so we got to put milk with our Fruit Loops, right? Doc, you've been teaching on these processed foods and sugars, right? Okay, good. Because some people never heard it before. Hmm? Well, yeah, and that opens up a whole nother door to all of this type 2 diabetes too. But I want to stick with this, with the mucus, okay? So when you take milk and then you mix it with enriched flour means it doesn't mean it's been enriched with anything, but it's been devitalized, it's been stripped, bleached. Bleaching is a part of the stripping. Since 1900, wheat has been modified. I won't say genetically modified 100%, but it's been modified about 75 times to the point the body can't recognize it as wheat. So unless you go to an Italian restaurant that's bringing their wheat over here from over there, you're getting some modified wheat. So that modified wheat instantly makes mucus. I think I shared this the other night. My great grandmother used to tell me, and my grandfather, that when they were kids, they would take white flour, enriched flour, mix it with water, and hang their wallpaper. So if it holds the wallpaper to the wall, guess what it's doing inside this 98.6-degree furnace? Well, it's not even getting to the arteries. It's just sticking in that intestinal wall. And then if you decide to put a little milk in the form of cheese with it, you're making your internal pizza. And it's going to hang up in there. So I'm going to digress for a minute, but I'm going to come back, okay? I had to go over to a not a nursing home, it's a rehabilitation center. One of the young lady's mother was diagnosed with stages of dementia. Pre now. It used to be you got dementia, you got Alzheimer's. Now it's pre, so she's getting there. And the reason that they said she was pre is because her equilibrium center had got off balance, so she was and falling. And that's pretty much why they put her in there, because her equilibrium was off and she was having short-term memory loss. So the moment I walked through the door, she had the blanket was on her legs, but it wasn't covering her feet and ankles. So I immediately looked over and I saw the right ankle was swollen, which told me that there was a potassium imbalance, which told me she had a circulatory issue. The left ankle was fine. I'm coming back. Whenever the right ankle swells, it's potassium. When the left ankle swells, it's sodium. When both ankles swell, you're setting yourself up for congested heart failure. Keep this in mind. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. Okay? My people perish for the lack of knowledge. And lack of knowledge of what? The truth about what? The lack of knowledge of self. My connection with God and the 0 degrees of separation between us, which opens the door for us to stand inside our divine sovereignty, which is our birthright. So I looked at her ankles, I saw that. Then I walked up closer and she gave me a hug and thanked me for coming. And I looked into her eyes and I saw, in a teachable moment, if you look into a person's eyes at the top of the iris and you see an opaqueness or a blue ring up top there, the carotid arteries are congesting. So that means she was getting very little oxygen going to the brain. Oh, I'm saving the best for last. Save it a bit, because it's going to tie back to you. Yeah, so the carotid arteries has started to congest. That's from eating all of that. I can't believe it's butter, margarine, and, the oxtails, all the stuff that clogs up those 66,000 miles of blood vessels that God decided to put in this body for us to communicate. The life of the flesh is where? But if the blood vehicle can't get the blood to you, how can the life force get to you? And if the life force can't get there, then what happens? That particular tissue or organ or gland starts to what? Die. That death process is we call aging. Oh, I'm going to come back to that one too. All right. Because they sold us a bill of goods with that whole process called aging. So, and I'm sitting there, I'm talking with her, and I'm looking, I've already processed that. I'm like, okay, we got this going. Perfect. And then Spirit said, look at her. And I looked at her, I looked at her abdomen, and I asked the magical question. How many bowel movements are you having a day? That was one of the first modalities that I learned how to do, iridology, and then which led into embryology. And that's the study of the fetus. And so when a fetus is developing, the first thing that develops is the brain. And then what next? The eye, which is an extension of the brain. That's why you can look in the eye and look at everything that's going on in the body. And then what's the third thing? We're talking the colon, the bowels. So we have 26 feet of intestines. That's enough to run almost across the stage, all wrapped up in here. 21 feet small intestines and 5 feet large. So I asked her how many bowel movements was she having a day, and she said, a day. Like, okay, every other day. Every other day? She was having one bowel movement a week. Okay. No, I did have a client that, and when my office was on Shaker, she was having one bowel movement a week. She's 115 pounds. She wasn't bloated or protruding or sticking out, but she was digesting her food well. She just wasn't eliminating it. But it broke all the way down. She's 115 pounds. So she did not have a protruding abdomen at all. So where was this food going? In the colon, but it was broken down and it just went into these pockets. They call these pockets diverticuli. When they become inflamed, they call them diverticulitis. They mean it's hot, irritated. Well, in this particular case, there's a center in the transverse colon on both sides. We call it the equilibrium center. She had a couple bowel pockets right there, and all that fecal matter that should have been coming out was pushing up against that meridian, which interfered with her brain, which caused her equilibrium center to be off. And this is why she was dizzy and falling. It was getting worse and worse. So this morning, she says, ooh, I had so many bowel movements yesterday. I'm feeling good because all her energy opened up. She's not falling. And they didn't know when she would be getting out of there. Now they're literally talking about a particular time that she would be getting out of there. See, it don't take long to bake a cake when you know what you're doing. My great-grandmother taught me that. You know how to make the cake, it's going to make it happen. But her situation was eating unconsciously, but the bowel represent the organ that does the releasing of the toxic waste, correct? But there's a psychosomatic side to that, which reflects on how we process, which is what I call the seventh. Remember, I only gave you 6, right? Here's the 7th one, stinking thinking. When I inappropriately deal with my thoughts and my feelings, I'm going to create a physical dis-ease. Talking about alignment. Disease, what are you here to teach me? You showed up for a reason. When the purpose for a thing is unknown, what happens? Abuse is inevitable. So disease, what are you here to teach me? Mucus monster, why are you here? And it's clogging up your lungs, right? What does the lungs represent in the human body? There's primarily one emotion, or two actually, that resonates with the lungs. Nita, do you know? I'm asking my auntie right there. Do you know? We talked about it. Grief and fear. Grief. Now, if I mention grief to you, then I would ask you to just think about it and feel into it over an extended period of time. Has there been a situation or someone that you've been grieving over? Alignment. This is not to put you on Front Street, but you are. You can handle it. Why am I grieving this situation? What is this grief teaching me that I'm producing all this mucus? Because here's the thing, everybody else pretty much in your house is eating the same thing, pretty much, right? But they're not suffering from the condition that you are, right? Which means that they're processing whatever they're looking at in that environment from a different perspective, right? You decided to say, I'm going to grieve this situation because I forgot or never knew how to love it, because I got out of alignment with the principle, count it all joy when we fall into these diverse situations and temptations. Again, everything that I'm talking about is actually a tool to empower you and remind you of your divine or your divinity or your divine ability to speak to mountains and have these mountains be thou what? So then why do we sing the song, Lord, don't move my mountain, just give me the strength to climb? Where'd that come from? Why do we do it? We've been taught to cast a spell over ourselves that separate us from the anointing that God gave us freely. So I teach my clients every so often throughout the course of the day, pump the brakes and do a checkup from the neck up. And ask yourself, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Is this mine? Where did this come from? Because when you're not aware, you're pretty much running on what we call collective consciousness. And so we talked about this the other day too. Anybody know the fairy tale Humpty Dumpty? What happened? Couldn't put him back together again. Why not? Why not? He was broke, huh? Let's back up. Let's back up for a second. Humpty sat on the wall, right? What was that wall he sat on? What was the wall he sat on? We said a great wall. God, great. The wall of indecisiveness. He stopped making choices. He gave up his birthright to make a choice. It's our free will, right? Make choices. He got tired of making choices. So he sat on the wall of indecisiveness. Didn't we hear about that in Revelation, the church of Laodicea? Today they hot, then they cold. Indecisiveness. He sat on that wall. When you stop making choices on life, guess what? Life makes choices for you. So again, he gave up his power on another level. So all the king's horses, right? What did the horses represent? All the king's horses represented the power. So I'm going to bring it to modern day. University Hospital. Cleveland Clinic, the new Cleveland Clinic, the other new Cleveland Clinic, the Cleveland Clinic that have a building for every part of my body. I did talk about that one day. I had a radio broadcast on WABQ years ago, right? And so I came out, and they were doing some work down on about 100. Down around Brother Barbie's house, down around 89. And Spirit just spoke to me and says, "Look, you got to let the people know that if they don't take accountability and responsibility for their health, Cleveland Clinic was going to put a building up for every part of their body." I come back to Cleveland and I can't even recognize Chester. I was going to Latins to get me a little roll, right? And I didn't know I was going to have to go in the Cleveland Clinic because my GPS led me to Cleveland Clinic. I'm like, Cleveland Clinic selling? But no, they have a little Latins in there. I didn't know that. So they going to feed you while they, My people perish for what? Lack of knowledge of who? And who I am, whose I am, and the purpose in which I was created. If we don't have those locked in, we like a leaf blowing down the street. The wind could blow, the community, society, our school, our friends, they can just blow us anywhere they want us to go because we don't have anything to be anchored into. So we opened up the bowels, and now all the equilibrium is going. So we're going to start on a protocol next week to open up these carotid arteries here. When my office was about 13 minutes from Cleveland Clinic, I used to have like 2 nurses that work over there. One worked at St. Vincent, I think it was. But anyway, Cleveland Clinic does about 50 open heart surgeries a day. It's about to start off at about $150,000 a pop. Okay? Because we want to put orange juice in our gas tanks. So they literally used to bring people over to my office. Are we? Yeah, we are recording this. This cannot be shown on any public network. Okay? Or I'm never coming back to Cleveland. Really, in the wintertime, I'm never coming back. But yeah, we used to open up, and we helped so many people that were scheduled for quadruple, double bypass. Within 72 hours, we have them urinating all the blockages right out. Just urinating right out. I'll give you a little insight on how you can make that happen. If y'all want it. Nobody said it. But I want to make sure the little lady right here to really understand the importance of holding on to grief. What's the opposite of grief? Joy, which according to the map of consciousness that was written in a book called Power versus Force by David Hawkins, joy is the highest vibration we could ever experience. I have a sanctified imagination, so I'm going to throw some stuff at you just come out of my imagination. But it works. But I can never use the word joy without saying love. I say it's love joy. It's hard to have one without the other, so I just put them together. Love joy. So if I decide not to operate or walk in the love joy of life or about a situation, then it's counter showing up, which is grief. You get that? So it's not about, and we don't need to get into what the situation is. It's not about that. It's not about you having to go and repent or ask forgiveness or anything about it. This is all about you forgiving you for not looking at the situation through your spiritual eye. And as you do that, you will get replenished. And it takes a matter of seconds. Actually, Rule of thumb is about 17 seconds is all it takes to realign yourself. That's just how much God loves you. See, unconditional love is all around us. Just waiting for us to just get back in alignment. It only takes 17 seconds. All we do is take a deep breath, hold it, inhale, let it out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you just get back in alignment there. Now the body's starting to heal itself. So that same, and then I'm gonna finish up with it. I'm gonna finish up with that. So that same mucus that's coming through those bronchial tubes, does it cause your throat to start to swell up sometime when your throat get full? Say no more. So that inflammation now begins to inflame and enlarge in her throat chakra area because you were not expressing yourself like you really wanted to. Or you gave your power over to somebody that caused you to shut down. Right? See? Again, gave the power over. Inflammation. Inflammation, for the record, is the number one killer in the world. Inflammation. What does that mean? Swollen, hot, red. Those are symptoms. All of those. I don't do symptoms. No, I don't do symptoms. People come in and say that, well, the doctor said it was stress, and I have to remind them. Stress, the devil, God, and bin Laden got blamed for more stuff that ain't got nothing to do with it. We're going to go to the stressor. Now, inflammation is the monster. But what is it? Look at the word. It's right there in the words. Inflamed. What? I'm hot. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. So wherever the inflammation shows up is really telling you where I've walked away from joy to pick up anger for a long period of time. Let this mind that was in Christ, what? Also, and what was that? What was that mind on? Love. Don't let the sun set on your what? What is wrath? Let's call it what it is. Inflammation. Inflammation. When I go to bed with inflammation for a minimum of 15 years, guess what I'm making in my body? Who? This. Oh. Cancer. In the Western school, they teach the liver does about 500 functions a day. When I studied the Ayurvedic system, I discovered it does 2,500 functions a day. I tend to believe that system. So if it was the foods, everybody's liver would be shutting down. So we know it's not that. It's not what goes in the mouth that defiles the body, right? It's what comes out, right? Which are what? Issues of the heart. This is why this stinking thinking piece is in there. The heart. Suppression of anger, hatred, resentment, bitterness, or unforgiveness is the root cause of all cancers. One or combination. And all cancers, regardless to where it manifests in the body, it starts in the liver. Now, there's one other thing that will shut that liver down for 30 minutes. Anybody know what that is? Alcohol? No, tequila's good for the liver. Because there's an herb called agave that we work with. And actually, tequila does, it is actually a medicinal for the mezcal. I'm telling y'all to go drink it. But no, it's certain cultures. No, in the Mexican culture, they use mezcal to help repair the liver. Just like we're not talking about liquor. So the liver does 2,500 functions a day, right? Anger, hatred, resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness are the emotions that will shut it down. And after a minimum of 15 years, will cause a cancer to show somewhere else in the body. But there's actually one food that will shut it down for half an hour. That's how strong this. They shouldn't even call it a food. But want to know what it is? Milk chocolate. One chocolate kiss is all it takes to shut down the liver. Yeah, one for 30 minutes. I had somebody say, well, can I just eat a candy bar and just shut it down for like 6 hours and then I'm good? Well, if you want to play. Yes. Yeah, milk chocolate. Not dark chocolate, milk chocolate. Dark chocolate is good. I don't know what's in white chocolate. I really don't. I don't know what's in white chocolate. More sugar. Let me see. We got a lot of women in here. Fellas, I'm going to deviate for a second, all right? But it'll help you too. Ladies, when that time of the month comes, what do you crave? Sweets, but pretty much what? Chocolate. Milk chocolate or dark chocolate? Just keeping it real. Right. So why is the brain saying, give us chocolate? Nobody know? Again, my people perish for the lack of knowledge of self. The brain got this. Well, before I say that, I'm going to say this. There's a signal that happens in the brain, and it tells you I want to eat. And you know you just ate, right? So what is that signal really telling you? It's a misfire. It's actually telling you that I'm thirsty and I need water. But some kind of way to switch over, but we got a way to put the brain chemistry back in balance now. But it's asking, I need some water. I need water. No, don't put any more pork chops in here. I know that macaroni and cheese is on the stove calling you. No, I need water because 80% of your body is water and 75% of your brain is water. And if you don't put enough water in it to change that chemistry around, you got a problem. We just planting seeds today. So when I come back in the next summer when it's warm again and not raining, we can talk about the harvest. Say what? No. Look, the sun is shining over there. Last time I was here was raining. Well, I'll wait for summer to really be here. I didn't know till I left that we get less sun than anywhere in the country. Cleveland and Detroit. Go figure. Go figure. Milk chocolate. Okay, so the brain is craving chocolate. You think it's craving chocolate. This is what it's looking for. It's looking for manganese and magnesium, ladies. But you haven't tapped in enough to know that that's really what the body's asking for. Because if you have enough of the magnesium, the brain, not the brain, but the liver will go thank you, and it will help the lymphatic system that's holding all of that bloat in those lymph nodes that's causing you to become sensitive. And the reason you become irritable is because it's acid that the liver would have gotten rid of on its own, but it can't get rid of it until the cycle come down. And it's only supposed to come down to get rid of the what? Toxins are not going to get credit for this. That tablespoon amount of eggs and endometrium lining. That's it. That's all supposed to come out through a cycle. I had so many clients that looked at me before when I started teaching. It's like, what? And then the moment we made the modifications, those periods went down to where God intended for them to be. Guess how long a cycle is supposed to last? Couple hours. Couple hours. Yes. You say, okay, he a guy. He don't know what he's talking about. So you have to ask the question, what is all the bleeding about? If all I'm supposed to do is eliminate the eggs that didn't get fertilized and the endometrium lining, what is all the bleeding about? Well, the body's, he said it's emotional. Get rid of emotions. No, the body recognizes that, okay, now we're getting ready to, we can dump these poisons, so let's dump. And so here's all the poisons that you've been accumulating from what I'm washing my hair with, my deodorant, my lotion. I haven't even gotten to the stuff that's in the food. The dyes that's coming through my clothes when I'm wearing all these other fabrics instead of linen or cotton, because all the rest of them start seeping into your bloodstream. Now I have to go into my makeup and look at all of the aluminum that's in the makeup, and then I have to go to my deodorant that's loaded with another level of aluminum, and this is why here we're getting the cysts and the tumors. That's one of the reasons I was late. I was just doing a lymphatic treatment, and we got to clearing out this one lady's breast, and she just broke down and started crying, and all of a sudden she just started, I don't know why I'm telling you all of this, but it all came up about everything that was happening in her marriage that she had suppressed. And it was trapped in the lymph nodes in her breast. So as we started cleaning the breast, the emotions came up. My people perish for what? So then we add in the latest, the eyelashes. Those eyelashes, ladies, are causing you all major, major problems down the line. The glue that you're using. When the glue starts to dry, we pat nose extensions. I did take an extension one day. I was playing with it, but we're not aware of how we're defiling the temple. Know ye not that ye are the temples of God? But I put the food of Balaam in my temple, and I'm expecting God's manifestation to show up. What? I'm getting mean mugged up here. Okay. Hey. In the back seat of the car over there, I got some of my sanitary napkins with that vibranium in it. Bring a pack in, because it'll make all those emotions go away, and it'll cut the menstrual cycle in half and get rid of any odor and bacteria. And yeah, I'll see you looking. This is where I did the other night. I actually have men wearing them too. I love it when I tell the guys, I'm going to have you wearing a sanitary napkin. They go, you crazy. And the moment I tell them what it does, they like, give it up. I know I digressed for a minute, but it felt good. And then I'm looking at you. In that sanitary napkin that we use to get rid of these menstrual cramps, I mean, you literally, you erase it, you erase all cramps. You won't even know your cycle is coming in unless you're keeping track. then it cuts it in half. In half. Well, I had to give them to my grandbaby. I had a box of them up here, but my grandbaby's got them all. I'm still got to get used to saying grandbabies. Ooh, I'm 32. I don't know how I got grandbabies. Shh, shh. Yeah, but, you know, and then you could take like 150 milliliters of water and pour it on it to be dry to touch. No seepage. So anyway, we'll talk about those later. But we can straighten all of that out, ladies. Because the life of the flesh is where? But you letting your life force go out how many days out of the month? When we're allowing all of that blood flow to leave us, and in some cases we're not, it's not that, but we have that other dis-ease called anemia. I'm not going to ask you to put your hands up if you're walking with the energy of anemia, but I will cut right to the chase with it. Anemia is the lack of iron in your bloodstream, right? Which tells me that my feel-good spot is not communicating with my bone marrow. My feel-good spot is my spleen, which is about 2 inches over by this rib cage back. That's your spleen. Your pancreas is over there too. The spleen, this is what the spleen is saying to the bone marrow. Look, I know your job is to make top quality blood so we can allow this blood to flow through all 66,000 miles of this circuitry that God put in this temple. But because I'm not loving myself enough at a deep enough level, I'm not going to send the right frequency over there. Therefore, you're going to produce this blood that's going to be low in iron, and my body is going to suffer. Because when I was a little girl, mama said this about me, or daddy said that about me. It made me feel bad until I never shook that feeling or emotion, and I just became one with it. And so I just did not love myself enough to shake past that. So then I began to attract relationships in my life that was going to not see me, feel me, hear me, support me, honor me. They were going to do the opposite, which they added to my inability to love myself. And I continued this cycle. Self-love. Self-love. Love thy neighbor. Or am I supposed to love my neighbor first? Or is my neighbor supposed to get the overflow of the love that I'm giving myself? The overflow. We've been conditioned to give from our underflow and expecting joy to show up. Stinking thinking. Then you could take some peach cobbler and put on top of that. and those blood vessels, they're going to start to kick in and start to burn. And then the next thing you know, like, you're going to go to Dr. Frankenstein and he's going to say, oh, we call that neuropathy over here. Because we had the audacity to get mad because Tyrone wouldn't love me the way I wanted to be loved, and I'm mad at Tyrone, and now I just got all this inflammation moving through my system, and now it's sitting in my feet, and my feet burning. Yeah, Tyrone. Or Tamika. I wanted Tamika to love me so much. I want her to love me like my mama loved me, but she not. So I'm gonna go over here to Tamika friend, and I'm gonna go over to this her. I'm gonna go to this girl, and I'm gonna go to this girl because I'm trying to fill this void that was never filled by my mother, because I'm suffering from what I call post-traumatic crib disorder. Your brothers suffer from that a lot, and you all help us easily, because one thing we learned in the crib is that if we cried loud enough, mama was coming to rescue us. And if she didn't, one of the sisters was going to come, or one of the aunties were going to come. And then we carried that mindset over into our teenage years and started to tell Tamika to do this for me. If she didn't do it, then this one would, or this one would. And we continues to go on and on and on. And we call that guy the player, because he get all the girls. No, that guy is the weak one, because he has yet to realize that what he thinks he's going to find in all these women is something he could only find from his mother, or repairing the relationship with his mother. So then their very, very mentality that he's operating under by trying to connect with all of these women in this way, and that woman of significance say, oh, it's not quite right. And then he began to send off electrical impulse from his brain that the villi on his prostate picks up, and it turns it into inflammation, because the very thing that he identified himself with and as that man, he's no longer that. His prostate becomes inflamed because he's out of alignment with who he thought he was. And this is why black men have prostate issues, I call it like it is, prostate cancer 50% more than any other race of men on the planet, because black men, we were conditioned to put our entire essence into our sexuality. And the moment it don't serve us, we self-destruct. It's quiet in here.
Oh, we're just thinking.
It's quiet. Well, see, the Bible calls these scenarios generational curses. I had a sanctified imagination, so I don't. I mean, can you imagine somebody paying me to come have a session with me, and they come to my office, and then I tell them, oh, you got a curse. You cursed. No, you just have some unresolved emotional issues that your mama didn't deal with, or your daddy didn't deal with, and it fell on your shoulders, and God said, okay, you can be the one to fix it for everybody if you decide to love yourself enough to do it. But I really feel, and no, I don't believe this, I know this, that the devil, we've been taught to be delivered from Satan, right? I got a sanctified imagination. I said, let the devil be the devil. I'd rather see you get delivered from those 260 taste buds. Yeah. First. Because them 260 taste buds will create all kind of hell for the rest of your life. Talking about torment. So I say, choose you this day whom ye shall serve. The God of your taste buds that want that peach cobbler. And you want to put some ice cream with it too. So now you got the flour and the milk. And then you're telling your stomach to process this. And then you got to tell it to release it. And it's like, no, we're glue. We're sticking with you for a long time. Or the spirit of wisdom that's trying to empower you to get back into alignment with who you are, whose you are, and the purpose in which you were created. So remember I said you asked the question, what are you here to teach me? Every single dis-ease that you've created in your body, if you decide to not judge it, not run from it, not try to eliminate the symptoms of it, but if you love it, it's going to give you a gift. Every single dis-ease that you have is attached to a gift if you transcend the lower frequency of it. Everything is frequency. Explain that one. Okay. Let's do cancer, since that seemed to be a hot topic. Cancer, what are you here to teach me? Take some chemo, take some radiation. All that's supposed to neutralize the symptom. You didn't get to the root of it. But with my sanctified imagination and what I've seen with all the people that I've worked with over the years, oh, cancer's here to teach you this. What is that? In this particular case, cancer's trying to teach you the power of walking across the bridge of forgiveness. Because when you walk across the bridge of forgiveness, cancer's going to reward you with more joy, with more happiness, with more abundance, with more vitality. But you can't get to that until you walk across the bridge of forgiveness. And not just the other person, but forgive yourself, because you got to forgive you for once you become consciously aware of this, for holding that frequency for 15 or 20 years and then allowing it to take root and then sprout. You got to forgive. Put it this way. Let's just hypothetically say you have cancer in your foot. Just foot cancer. Is that a such thing? Foot cancer. It will be in another 10 years, I promise you. Foot cancer. I got foot cancer. So now you're having this conversation with yourself, and then you have to say, foot, forgive me for holding this anger that I've held for a minimum of 15 years because I forced you to walk into a job that I hated to go into every day. See, the foot is only doing what the mind tells it to do. Or this particular part of the body is doing what the mind tells it to do. Everywhere the cancer shows up, within there is a message for you. Left breast. I spent all of my time nurturing and taking care of the family and the church and everything. I put everything first and nurtured. It was a good steward. But I forgot about the little girl inside of me. At the end of the day, she's the one that needed some of that nurturing, but you gave it to everybody else. So it's going to show up in the left breast, whether it's a cyst, a tumor, fibrocystic tissue. It's going to show up right there. If it's the right breast, Tyrone didn't do what I wanted him to do, and I got mad, but my whole body is paying for it because I'm mad at Tyrone because I can't forgive Tyrone. When in actuality, Tyrone showed up just to show you where you wasn't loving yourself. So instead of cursing Tyrone, bless him. Thank you. I got the message. I got the message. Diabetes. You know, I'm going to say this. I got all kind of clients, all race. And we're cool. And I got a lot of colleagues. So one of my colleagues works at the big hospital over there in Grass Valley. And she said, Butler, I'm almost ashamed to tell you this. She's Italian. She says, I'm almost ashamed to tell you this, but I got to let you know so you can let your people know. They have a code word in the ER room. I said, code word? She said, yeah, it's a code word. It's called Honda. So they say, we'll have a Honda in room whatever. There's a Honda in room whatever. There's a Honda. Honda was, these are the acronyms, a hypertensive, overweight, N-word with asthma and diabetes and asthma. They have labeled us as having those major diseases. And are they wrong? Why do we have them? The way we eat. But I thought, what the principle say? It's not what goes in the mouth that defiles the body. It's what comes out. See, I would have stayed right there with you 20 years ago. Yeah, we got to change the diet. We still have to change the diet. But now God has showed me even a more excellent way. And that's just cleaning up the heart, the stinking thinking. Because the moment we master our emotions, we get to master this temple. Because the temple is only responding to the programs that we're still running from mom and them, hood and them, school and them, the NIMS. These are programs. So I told the client it was a couple weeks ago, I said, look, you are a Pentium 22 computer, top of the line Apple. Why are you running Windows 95? Why are you running Windows 95? That software is outdated. You know who else was running Windows 95? Long time ago. Moses was taking the children of Israel out of Egypt to the promised land. It only took 7 days to get there. How many years did it take them? 40 years. How many years is a generation? 20 years for a generation. But it took 40 years. 2 generations of people had to die out before they can possess the land. Because they were still running those programs from Egypt. We still running programs from the food pyramids. Some from the dairy group, some from the meat group. Or this is the way we always made our macaroni and cheese. It's the way I make my sakatimi cake. Oh, this is our family recipe. We can't tell you this. This just run. Oh no, that what's that other cake, Mama? That devil's food cake. You mentioned the word mucus. In the Greek, it's catarrh, which today we call it cataracts, glaucoma, dandruff, eczema, psoriasis, earwax, eye boogers, snot, mucus. That's all the same stuff. Sugar, milk, and wheat. Sugar, milk, and wheat. Just think if you were in a chemistry lab and what happened if you mix that together. We don't know that this is a lab right here. And the quality of the stuff that I'm putting in this lab gonna give me my output. So I was talking to some brothers, and man, everybody was talking about their cars, the engine, you know, the dual exhaust and all of this stuff. I said, would you pull that car up to the gas station and put orange juice in the tank? Man, you crazy. Oh. But you would chew some milk and put it in this tank and expect that tank to serve you properly. You think you can put milk in this tank and you're not going to get gastritis? I had a guy that I'm like, I've never seen this in all these years, and I literally have worked on about 60-some thousand people, right? Since 89 or 88, whatever. I've never met a person who had hemorrhoids for 30 years. Can you imagine? What do you think is the problem? Oh, no. This guy, his diet is impeccable. Oh, yeah, I have a lot of vegans who eat the best of the best. But some of them have some problems that my meat eaters and smokers, they would never have. I'm telling you, God showed me something about this food. Yes, it's an issue, but it's not the main issue. But we still have to go through that school of thought, though, so we can get it back in alignment. Hemorrhoids for 30 years. I couldn't handle it for 30 minutes. This guy for 30 years. So I just asked the question. I'm telling you, live in the question, people. When you ask the question, I promise you, God will answer. Because I'll come to that later. Go back to Mr. Hemorrhoids. I said, real simple, because he did everything I had initially told him to do, and he got the internet as his best friend, so he's tried everything. One of the things that pretty much works all the time for me is you take a white potato, cut it to the size of a suppository, put a little coconut oil on it, slap it in, and there it is. Overnight, the hemorrhoids start to shrink. Have you ever looked at what's in preparation H? Sodium, the number one ingredient. The white potato is organic sodium. The organic sodium will cause the hemorrhoid to shrink because it needs salt. Just like some people's blood pressure is too high because they don't have enough salt. The blood is thick. They're not drinking water. They don't have enough salt. The pressure's up. Who is they? Dr. Frankenstein? Clarification. I don't think every doctor went into the practice to do harm. I don't. I think some of them really went there to help, but the school of thoughts that they have to go through and the people they have to answer to, they have to follow the agenda. So some of them really want to help, but they have boundaries. This is why it goes back to you. For me and my house. For me and my house. So Dr. Frankenstein said, you got too much salt. You don't have the right salt. And without going into that, because I want to come back over to that, you want Himalayan sea salt. And the reason you want Himalayan, the pink, not white, Himalayan, is because it comes from that high altitude. And that high altitude is where you have tons of negative ions floating through the air, and it gets into the crystals in the salt. And then when you put it in your water, it gets into your body. Negative ions pulls the positive ions out of the body. Every disease has trillions of positive ions around it. So, Mr. Hemorrhoid, this is the question I asked him, and I want you to pay attention to this narrative. What are you so anal about? That's what I asked him. What are you so anal about? What do you mean? I said, you anal, man. I don't know nobody that has 30 years of hemorrhoids. Nobody. Even the lady, even Miss Shirley, she had 12 kids. She never said she had hemorrhoids. Like, no. Well, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with my emotions. So I kept talking to him, and I was looking at him. And I saw the number 14 pop up over his head. And so I said, what happened when you were 14? Nothing. No, something happened that made you anal about life. Well, there's no emotional charge here. Nothing happened. My father died. Okay. That could have been traumatic. Probably was. But let's go a little deeper than that. What happened after your father died that made you so anal? Nothing. So we kept peeling that onion, right? I kept asking the question. Peeled it all the way back. For time's sake, I'm just jumping right to it. They're little rich Jewish family. Dad died. The cousin was feminine, and he had all his feminine guys over, and they were in the swimming pool swimming in the nude, and he saw that, and he thought because his father wasn't there, he was going to be next. And he never looked at that as a charge that made him this anal. His wife had to beg him to feel into this emotion because they've been married for 30-some years. And she's like, babe, you need to really connect with that emotion because that's real. He tried to act like it wasn't. But that's when hemorrhoids started. This stuff goes all the way back. Feelings buried alive never die. They only can manifest into a physical disease. This is one of the reasons why I always spend time going back to these scenarios that happen in childhood, because that's where the seed of a lot of this stuff starts. And then if we can harmonize it, then it's just have the ripple effect to bring you current, because you're just stuck in that space. Feelings buried alive never die. That's real. No. What did I say I was going to come back to? I didn't want to talk about the salt no more, because you're going to get the Himalayan salt. Get the mucus. Something I said, hold it, don't. You remember Zeta, right? Thank you. Diabetes, what are you here to teach me? Why would an energy cause dysresonance in my pancreas, which God put that gland in the body to balance my blood sugars? How do I throw that out of whack? How did I get out of alignment with that? Because it's supposed to control my sugars. And if I control my sugars, a lot of things stay in control in my body. And I keep using that word control. What does that word control got to do with diabetes? Power control fanatics. But even more than that, shoulda, woulda, couldas. I should have done this. I could have done that. I should have done this. I could have done that. I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Feelings buried alive don't die. The shoulda, woulda, couldas will throw that pancreas off in a heartbeat. Why do people need to be in control of everything? Why? What's behind that? Absolutely, fear. So fear is the other reason why we have all this diabetes. Fear. So somebody's saying, okay, well, what about type 1 diabetes? It's born with it. Then I would say simply, let's go back and have a conversation with mom. What happened during the 3rd trimester when she was pregnant with you? What part of the shoulda, woulda, couldas was she dealing with? What part of the control she was trying to have over dad, or dad was trying to have over her, to the point where she didn't feel she had enough power control over anything? What happened? Because during the 3rd trimester, all of her emotions, where there's a charge, gets imprinted into your limbic system. And you begin to live it out. I just gave you the key to how all of these childhood diseases start. No, I'm not saying mom is the problem. I'm saying how she processed her emotions. See, I'm not that guy that's going to tell you that daddy is the strong one. He runs. No. Ladies, God made you all very unique. Y'all got a lot of power. You all are the male's first teachers. But there has been a discrepancy around our identity and who we are, whose we are, and why we were created, to the point where we have stepped aside or got out of alignment with our divinity of being one with that divine feminine energy. And so I step outside of that and take on what? The masculine. We got a problem. We got a problem. And the excuses, they're there. Well, he didn't do it, I had to do it. He left, I had to do it. The role of the male, when you took on his energy, see, the reason he acted up in the first place, because your soul created the space for you to have this epiphany. See, all of what you wanted that male to do, God said, I'm here to do it for you, but you have to develop a relationship with me. If you develop that relationship with me, I'm going to allow the right male to come in. He's going to see you. He's going to hear you. He's going to love you. He's going to support you. He's going to hold you in a sacred space for you to be all that you need to be. But he can't show up if you out of alignment with me. I had a girl tell me the other day, oh, I'm just looking for, I'm like, well, you're out of alignment, looking for anything. What you looking for? Who told you a woman's supposed to ever look for a man? If she's in touch, in tune, and tapped in, she's nourishing herself in that divinity and that creative life force energy. And through osmosis, that magnetism goes out into the universe and it goes all around you. And then here come 3 or 4 of them. Like, whoa, is it me? Is it me? You get the power of choice. You get to pick which package you wanted to come in. And then it's like tango. I'm learning Argentine tango right now. And when they were breaking down the concept to me, I told you I got a sanctified imagination. So I was listening to what they said, but my imagination kicked in. And so with the tango, the male is supposed to create the safe space. You got it, don't you? You watch Dancing with the Stars. You won't see me on TV with this. Not with that dance. So his job is to just create the space. But in order for him to create the space, he has to step out of his masculine, tap into his feminine so he can feel who he's dancing with. So he'll know how to build this parameter around her so that she can be vulnerable enough to trust him. If she's vulnerable enough to trust him, and he sees her and he's connected with her through his feminine energy, not his masculine, his feminine energy, the masculine is just holding the space, but his feminine energy is working with her at a deep level. Then what happens? She's able to tap into that magic, creative life force energy and begin to create the magic on the dance floor. She's the one that creates the magic, but she can only create the magic if she feels safe, if she feels seen, if she felt nurtured, if she felt secure. So I'm like, wait a minute, this is the dance of life. Yeah. This is the dance of life. So I just connect these dots like this when I hear stuff. But that's the tango. Brothers have to be able to get in touch with their feminine, because it's not about you being emasculated or you stepping out of your manhood. No, you actually develop a deeper expression of that divine masculinity by being in harmony with the feminine side of you. Because it's 2 sides. The right side is the masculine, the left is the feminine. It's like a battery. You take one without the other, the car won't start. It won't start. The liver is over here, but you got your spleen and pancreas on this side of the temple. The feeling side. The liver is the worker, the masculine side. All we got to do is look at how God put the body together, and the light bulb will come on. Question. Anybody? Well, I was eating knowledge instead of peach cobbler. No, I stay on peach cobbler because that used to be my favorite. They used to make it, didn't they? Yeah, you got to use the right flour and you got to use the right sweetener. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do my friends the honor, and I'm going to make them a gluten-free German chocolate cake before I leave, just so they can. Say what? Oh, no, they not here. No, they downtown. But yeah, I'm going to make them a gluten-free vegan. That's actually better than the German chocolate cake I grew up on. So you asked the question, how did I learn this? When I was little, I was 10 years old, and I was in Sunday school. And they were catechizing the lesson. And we were talking about Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve. Cain killed Abel, went into the land of Nod, and got a wife. And so I had a sanctified imagination then, too. So I put my hand up, and I said, Brother Catlin, I can say it now because he's on the other side. He can't get me. I said, if Cain killed Abel and went into the land of Nod, was it China where the people Nod? Or was it a sister that we didn't know anything about? And his response was the response that set me on the course to learn all of this. He said, if God would have wanted us to know, you to put it in the Bible. That didn't settle with me at all. No. So that moment, I began to activate the scripture that says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that need not be ashamed, but rightly dividing the word of truth. And I applied that principle to everything that I learned about the Bible, to the point it took me when I was 19 to seminary. So we can learn how to transliterate out of the Greek back to the Hebrew, hermeneutically, exegete the script, all of that. Because I was hungry. Not for peach cobbler, though. But I was hungry for God. Because that didn't make sense what they told me, and it just wasn't lining up. And so Pastor Nate don't know this, but I could only come to this church because I know he's feeding you all non-GMO spiritual food. Because I get invited to go to a lot, but I'm not going because I already know where I'm going. I already know that. I'm not wasting my time playing with y'all. Not y'all, but no. Before I left Cleveland, I used to minister to about 150 bishops every Tuesday on 105 in St. Clair about the importance of putting a wellness ministry in their church and how they could make it feasible for the people. And they were not interested. I took about 8 weeks. I did it all summer, my whole summer. I could have been doing something else. I think on Tuesdays, wasn't the Cinemark only $1.50 back then? I could have been going to the movies. But no, because I understood the people needed to get this. But I also knew and learned when I was in seminary that there's a lot of stuff being taught that the people not getting. And I used to ask the question, why aren't we teaching this to the people? And the answer came back, they don't need to know. Because if they got that, they'll feel like they don't need the church. And that messed me up in a good way. In a good way. So I applied that principle to, okay, how can I help the people? And my great-grandmother started me with all these herbs back when I was little and making these teas and all of this. Anybody know what red clover is? You see that little red purplish thing that growing in your backyards? Anybody got that growing in their backyard? Nobody. What about dandelions? Who got dandelions in their yard? What did you do? All right. Did you plant it? So how did it get there? The wind. You say naturally? Yeah. So it naturally showed up, right? There are no coincidences in God's world. So now why is the dandelion growing in your yard? Because God is saying, look, I need you to take that dandelion leaf and make the tea out of it because it's going to help purify those kidneys. I need you to go in and start cleaning up the kidneys on a physical level so that you get it cleaned up on a physical level enough so that you can wake up and realize that I need to clean it up on a spiritual level, which means that I have to go in and I have to deal with and process and forgive and release the disappointments, the criticism, and the fear of failure. That's what caused the kidney problems. One of those. And not ocean spray either. No, don't drink it. It's only 10% real juice in that. Only 10%.
What do you say regarding eliminating sugar? Two was, you didn't say why Humpty Dumpty couldn't put himself back together.
I didn't?
And three is, how do you know if
I'm not going to remember all of this.
how do you know if you have too much magnesium in your system?
Oh, that's easy. You'll be riding a porcelain pony.
Pardon me?
Too much magnesium will put you on a porcelain pony. But it's called biotolerating. So you can take a substance or a supplement right to the bowels, get loose, and then you drop back one dose. And that's exactly how much your body needs. I used to teach when I managed the health food store. I would teach you literally how the body dials. You could take an herb and hold it right here and just ask, is this good for me? And close your eyes. And if your body rock forward, it's like right on. Yeah. If it go backwards, you need to run from it. It's in your body. God didn't give us enough sense to outsmart ourselves. But if we run in 095 and God is over here on this new system, we'll miss it. We'll be out of alignment every day. Sugar. There's several different companies that's making stevia. Stevia is super sweet, but it's not sugar. You can eat it all day long. It will never spike your blood sugar levels. One of the honeys that I would use was low index, like a 65 index, which is Tupelo honey. Honeys vary, but I like stevia. Sweet drops is great. There's no aftertaste. Some of those stevias, there's aftertaste. It tastes good. Monk fruit. No, aspartame is embalming fluid. No. Stevia is a monster all by, stevia is a good monster all by itself. Aspartame, look for aspartame in your gum. You're going to see it in your gum. You're going to see it in a lot of your drinks. It's embalming fluid. My boy had Wanton Funeral Home. Well, I think they're still open. Is they still open? Yeah, I remember when he first got it, and he was like, bro, you know how much we're using 50% less embalming fluid today than we used to do 20 years ago. And I was like, yeah, you know why? He was like, no, because the people are already embalmed. You going in the wheels already halfway ready. You can save on embalming fluid. Do I get a reduction in my price for that embalming gas? Because you already embalmed. Sugar, and what's the other? Oh. Why couldn't the King's horses put him together again, the Cleveland Clinics? And why? The King's men. That's where I left off. Thank you, Arlinda. The King's men. What did the King's men represent? The wisdom. The psychiatrists, psychologists. All of them from the Game of Thrones. They didn't have enough wisdom to put Humpty back. Why? The only person that could heal Humpty was Humpty because it was an inside job. He just had to clean up his stinking thinking. Yeah, he sat on the wall and stopped making choices. The reason we took on the flesh is we've been given the power of choice. But he said, I don't want it. Okay, well, here you go, Humpty. You might well say he was bipolar, wanting this doctor or this running to this doctor or this hospital. No. Choose you this day whom you shall serve. The Spirit of God is trying to, God don't try to do anything. The Spirit of God that is calling you back into alignment versus what Mom and them, the Hood and them, all of them's trying to get you to do. Why is it so difficult to get back in alignment? What is it about being out of alignment that's so difficult to come back into alignment? I'm listening. What it makes it so difficult to come back into alignment from being out of alignment? Letting go? Is there a principle in the Bible that talks about getting back in alignment? Like literally. Okay, so when we get out of alignment, we all experience the prodigal son's experience. We left, got out of alignment, and when we came to ourselves, what did he do? He had enough juice to know where his source was because he had gotten away from his source. So he remembered who he was. He remembered the gift that was on him. He remembered the anointing that was at his daddy's house. See, the son that never left, he had no experience. He stayed at home. He was watching Netflix. But the son that said, you know what, I'm going to go out here and do my thing. But that's infinite wisdom at its finest. You make a choice thinking you're getting away from God, and guess what? You can go all the way to your lowest if you need to, but guess what? God's still going to be right there. I think David said, if I make my bed in hell, he's there. There's no place you can go and God is not there. This is why your breath is so powerful. You want to get back into alignment real quick, you be still and you breathe and you remember the source from which brought you here. And that will energetically start aligning you instantly. And you don't need an Advil to do that. You don't need a Motrin. You don't need any lithium. None of that. Say it again. I don't know if I want elders praying for me and they got arthritis and diabetes. What do they know about my sick? Hold on, watch this. What do they know about my growth experience? Because every disease is an opportunity to grow. Uniquely for you. I got arthritis in this right knee. I don't know why this knee just bothers. You go out when it wants to. Well, is it possible that this arthritis is showing up in my right knee because I need to be flexible with my wife and my kids? Is it possible I need to have more flexibility in my life? Or why did I get calcified and I got rigid? Till my bones started to get rigid because I got bitterness at the core because it's my way or the highway. That's arthritis. That's arthritis. My way or the highway. Rheumatoid arthritis is that I just got bitter with it and I'm not letting it go. And those knuckles cross over and you can't open those hands up and it's just like, and it's just crippling you up. Your bitterness is crippling you up. I'm going to say this and then I think it might, yeah. What did we start talking about first? Love, joy, right? What'd you say, PMS? Oh, mucus. Mucus. I want to remind you of one of the most powerful, for me, one of the most powerful narratives that took place in the New Testament. When Jesus was walking by the man at the pool of Bethesda. for time's sake, I won't get into all the metaphysics of that. But here we have a brother that's sitting there for years because nobody would help him get in the water when the angels would trouble the water. What would cause a person to stay in a dis-ease state for 14 years? Yeah, the mindset. But what mindset? Hopelessness. But that's not quite right. I mean, it is, but I want another one. Begins with a V. Victim. A victim. Victim of circumstance. They did this to me. She did this to me. My job did this. They won't do this. I'm a victim. Say this, repeat this after me. Life isn't happening to me. It's happening for me. Lock that in. And then when the moment we begin to know that the situation that I used to allow to suppress me or victimize me, I overcome that, then I get to say, what else is possible? Because the God we serve operate in the realm of what? Impossibilities, infinite possibilities. But I can't get to those infinite possibilities if I'm stuck under the umbrella of being a victim. So, love came walking by. Master, master, help me, help me. I got a sanctified imagination, so this is how I saw that conversation go down. Master, master, help me. What's up? Every time the angels trouble the water, nobody will help me get in. Straight up. Now, you do know who I am, right? Yeah, you Jesus. You can lay hands on me, but I'm not. You can reach into the dirt and throw something on me, but I'm not. But I have a question for you. Can you love yourself enough to be made whole? Regardless of the situation you created, can you tap into enough love that you can transcend that situation? Jesus asked the man a question for internal reflection. It caused him to think about his condition, feel into his condition, to the point where he raised his vibration. Jesus didn't do anything to him but asked him a question. Where was his healing? Right there where his cursing was, within him. He made a choice to get back in alignment with love. And then it said he picked up his bed and walked. So if his bed was right, he was walking over towards Randall Mall. What? That ain't the mall no more. What is over there? Amazon. He walked behind Amazon. When we have these transformations, let us put in our mindset to ask another question. What else is possible? Because God is always trying to show us, or wants to show us, God has a desire for you to live in the question of what else is possible. Because God always loves to show up and show out. We keep God from showing up and showing out because we want to walk under that umbrella of being a victim. Okay. I think that's enough. Anybody got another question for me? Yes, ma'am. Supplements. You take a lot of supplements.
And I feel stuck as to what to actually take and do.
Well, I can't talk about the shoulda, woulda, couldas. But if you would have been here the other night, but I got rid of all of those samples we had. God has allowed me, which is extension over to you guys, to have the most cutting edge supplement on the market today worldwide. Every single disease can be directly correlated back to a mineral deficiency. How many of you guys remember Dr. Joe Wallach back in the 90s? He talked about dead doctors don't lie. Anybody ever heard that series? Okay, well, you can still find it on YouTube. Listen to it, because these are medical doctors talking about every disease that can go back to the mineral that the body is depleted of. And that's why the disease is there. Well, technology has allowed us, through the guidance of God, to have what we call an aquaceutical. So it's a liquid, it's in water, but it's been nano-sized. So we've taken about 97 nutrients and we've nano-sized them down into trillions of particles that's beneath 7 nanometers, which means that when you swish it around in your mouth, it goes into all 32.5 trillion cells that make up the human body in 4.5 minutes. See, we're moving to a place where we're moving past all of that. So all of these little supplements, I had one particular client, it's $650 a month they're spending on supplements. I turned them on to this, now they just spend $100. And their conditions are reversing. How many of you heard of what we called, where we get our biomarkers done? Anybody heard of biomarkers? Yes. Yeah. That's where you can give your blood and they can tell the chronological age of your organs and glands. Okay? Just like they can take a teardrop and determine what emotion you've been suppressing for the last 5 to 7 years right out of the tear. We got all this technology now to point you back to you. Yeah, back to you. We even have another technology where I could take your voice, just 25 seconds, and it'll start to tell me everything wrong with your body. It's a German technology. It comes out of Germany. I should have brought it. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But I will be bringing these technologies back here. And there's another one. Oh, goodness. Can I have 10 more minutes? We good? I saw you stand up. And I'm from back in the day that if you're going too long, they do this. And I didn't know if you was doing it from over there. I'm about to. Yeah. So we have another technology that this brother developed down in, he's a physicist down in Alabama. And he developed it 20 years ago, and they just put it on the market, which he got it out there in time before all of the major establishments start to put it out there. But it's an AI technology that actually turns your smartphone into a transmitter. And so when you got a bottle of water? Anybody got a bottle of water? Oh, that's you? Oh, we got to have a bottle that I can drink. No, but you know what? Bring me your bottle back up here, though. Bring it back. Because I can do this with 48 bottles. Just sit it right next to that one. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do that one, but I'm going to show you this one too. In this program, which turns your smartphone into a transmitter, what it does is I'm putting it on water conversion. This is actually about to put oxygen into this water, and any contaminants is going to change the molecular structure of it so that it's totally compatible and safe for my body.
Welcome to Quantum Natural Health and Wellness. This is the Alice System. I am designed to address various biomolecular issues. In this instance, I will infuse O2 elements directly into a targeted liquid medium via molecular transmission. Please stand by for elemental infusion. Targeting endpoints. Beginning transmission.
But you can do this for up to 4 gallons at one time.
Transmission complete. I hope you had a pleasant experience. Have a good day.
Thank you. So it's done. So the water's been transformed. If I'd have put 10 bottles right here, as long as they was touching, the frequency went through all of it. So now your water's anointed. So you can do that with food, you can do that with water, but in this, yeah, it's smoother. About to talk about. So there's about 30 programs in here, and we have everything from alpha male to digestive aid, email, diet for diabetes, blood pressure. It doesn't matter. Who got a blood pressure challenge right now? Wait, who got the audacity to have a blood pressure issue right now? I mean, you still do. We leave it over there. It don't matter. It don't matter. So, read this.
Blood pressure balance helps manage hypertension. It gives the body specific energy signature that helps to thin the blood and soften the arteries and blood vessels. This energy signature helps to repair damage caused by hypertension, which can improve circulation, normalize cholesterol, and manage blood pressure over time.
So, all of the herbs, because what this does, it pulls the energetic signature from all the herbs for your condition. And so what we do, we hit that. I'm going to press start. I'm going to press play, and you're going to hold it right here.
Transmitting blood pressure balance.
Technology is caught up with it. So what she's doing is she's taking all of the frequencies from the blood pressure balancing herbs, which is the cayenne pepper, the ginger, what else they probably got in there? White willow bark. I don't think they put turmeric in that, but actually turmeric is in another one that we have called anti-inflammatory aid. It literally just goes throughout the body. It runs through all 11 systems of the body, putting the frequencies in there. So what I'll do, if I can get everybody's email, I'll give you all that. And then you can download the app, and you can pay for however many sessions you want, and you can just run it on yourself and just run it. I give it to the clients so they can just keep. I don't need to see a lot of people no more. I used to see 1,100 people a year for 13 years, and then I thought it was over. Then I started traveling and started seeing more people. So what that did, it put the frequencies in your body energetically, so your body is recalibrating itself with the blood pressure. That's what it's doing. And if you do that on a continuous basis, a couple times a day, probably the most severe situation that I've seen happen with this, we had a guy that needed knee replacement. And so we put on the recovery for bone regeneration or muscle regeneration. And he just sit there and laid it on his knees. And he did it like 3 or 4 times a day. And so it took about 3 months, 3.5 months. He went back to the doctor. He had all cartilage. But what's so unique about this is a very powerful technology, but those minerals that I was telling you guys about, I don't need to keep talking. We got people in the house. Yeah, you know I'm coming. Talk to us, Nita. This is my auntie, y'all. And she came to hear me lecture a couple nights ago. And tell your story.
Okay, he gave me this vial.
No. What was going on? I just didn't walk
And
up to you and give you one last vial.
yes, you did.
No, I didn't. You told me something.
What did I tell you?
What was going on?
I had back pain and sciatica.
She had a pinched nerve in her back and sciatica.
And so he gave me this vial since August. He gave me this vial. He told me to put this in my, I didn't swallow it. I put it in my mouth and he told me to swish it around until he told me time was up and to swallow it. And the pain did leave. It did leave. It came back, but it did leave.
So, yes, it came back. If I was trying to, yeah, but it came back. You're supposed to act like it was gone. Man, I ain't calling you no more. Sales are down. No. But I'm just joking. But she had been in pain since August of last year. Every day, burning, inflammation. So in that 97 nutrients, minerals, ashwagandha, all the good stuff, and CBD, CBG, no THC, because we get it from the hemp plant. There's no THC in the hemp plant. So the CBD and the CBG went to every nerve ending in her body where those receptor sites are, and it turned them off like a key going and turn off the inflammation. You turn the inflammation off, here comes peace. And come the joy. And I think you slept good. Because if you don't go to REM state sleep, your body can never rejuvenate itself, so it keeps degenerating. So we have a formula to allow you to go to REM state. You just spray it in an hour before bed, and then at bedtime, and you go to REM state. Yeah, I call them the Jackson 5. We have one for sleep. My favorite, well, I'll say my favorite for last. Then we have one that actually, it's not my favorite, but we have one called Serenity. Okay? It has the herbs in it that synergistically blend with these minerals. The reason that I really love Serenity is because I've always had a passion to give back. And I wanted to give back, and I had started working with the vets because these guys and women, they go and they get on the front line for the illusion of the liberties we have in this country. And then when they come home, they just kick them to the curb. So the biggest challenge that they deal with is PTSD. Well, I went to the owner of the company and I talked with Brad and got him to give me a deal so we can give to every vet in America. But I have a nonprofit that we're working down called Watering Seeds down in Houston. So we're setting up now to give this Serenity to the vets, and he's actually going to give the first bottle away to them free. Because within 28 seconds of spraying it under your tongue, all of your anxiety, PTSD, mood swings, and depression disappears. That's because it's a chemical imbalance going on. I call it my mental health in a bottle. So we have one of those, and then I have one just to give you energy. Then I have one for sleep, and then trim, which was my favorite. I went from a 40 waist down to a 32 waist in 3.5 weeks. Just spraying it under my tongue. I didn't do nothing extra. Then I came to Cleveland and started eating again because all my real restaurants is out in California and everybody over here went up. But that little pita place across the street over there? What? What? That little place over there? Oh my goodness, they got some of the best organic good food over there. Yeah, Peter Polte. Yeah. When you go in there, tell the cook, tell her that Jonathan sent you over there, right? Because I did. She was coming to the lecture, but because I told her she was working on my plate and putting it together, and she said, "You want some of this special sauce?" I was like, "What's in it?" She says, "This is all healthy." She broke down a recipe. And then while she was doing it, I was like, how bad is that pain in the right side of your back? She said, "How you see that?" I said, "Because your right kidney telling me." Telling you what? That you need to let Tyrone go and let Tyrone and get rid of that criticism and disappointing Tyrone. She looked at me and started crying and went in the kitchen, got her sister. Read her next. So they hooked me up that day. I got all kind of goodies over there that day. You can read for a meal. But those minerals, which we're going to make sure you guys have access to them. I'm going to say this, and then this is my last close. Wait, I got to drink some water. I have a client. She's actually a colleague now. And her son is 17 now. Born perfectly fine. But now he's nonverbal autistic. It happened when he was 3 when they gave him those vaccines. So I gave them the same thing I gave you that night, the swish. And 4 minutes later, his expression changed on his face. Fast forward it, now we're like into the 12th or 13th week. He's now putting sentences together. See, there's a chemical imbalance in the brain. All the minerals will do is put everything back in order so it can communicate with each other the way it's supposed to. When there is a dis-ease or dis-resonance because we're out of alignment, the communication is off. So if I'm in a dis-ease state, I don't have the connection that I need to have with the source. So I have to get back into alignment. Alignment. I said it 15 times now. You told me to say it 16, right? I had to use alignment. No. It was just God, because as I'm talking to him, he said, "Bro, you are literally in my sermon, and I'm teaching this right now." I'm like, "Well, God put it out there. You heard it, I heard it. Hallelujah." But these minerals are actually the catalyst. Now, hear how I'm saying this, because I need you to get it at this level. All of these physical challenges, you can pretty much eliminate with those minerals. But if you don't circle back around to deal with the stinking thinking, it's going to come back after you stop taking the minerals. The minerals will keep them away. So we're watching everything from a chronic rheumatoid arthritis, the patient been in the program for 25 years, now saying that, "Oh, your arthritis is inactive." Have you ever heard of a doctor saying that is inactive? They just wouldn't say it was gone. They say it's inactive. That's because they wrote it down and they got it. Her musculoskeletal system started to regenerate itself, and she's 72. Can these dry bones yet live again? You put some minerals on them. Oh, that's what they look like. That's Linda, look at you. She's holding up. This is one of the Jackson 5s right here. This is actually the relief. This replaced her ibuprofen. Non-GMO. This is a month supply that's in here, unless you just ran up all day. And so, yeah. But this is what we're giving the veterans. And it's taking care of all of those mental gymnastics. So I call that my mental health in a bottle. So if you're dealing with anxiety, depression, mood swings, any of that stuff, 9 squirts of Serenity, and in 20 seconds, you bouncing back like, whoa. And the first thing you feel is the light comes on in your head. Next thing happens, it starts wiping out all the cortisol that's in the brain, and then it moves through the body and start clearing up the cortisol. And then the other thing it starts to kill up is what we call our dog zombie cells. Ever heard of zombie cells? It's just like Night of the Living Dead. When a zombie bites you, you turn into a zombie. Well, you got cells in the body that bite healthy cells, and it converts them. Well, that formula goes in and wipe those guys right out. Yeah. So, thank you, Alinda. That's it. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. Oh, is that mental health? Well, actually, every disease is mental health. Every disease is mental health. But can it help? Can I drink a little bit of water first? I'm paused because I don't like to use the word help when it comes to me. But you didn't ask me, you asked about that. So I'm going to say yes to that, but I can't help anybody. But I can support you. Because if I help you, if the outcome is great, you're going to celebrate me. But if the outcome is not great, I'm the reason it didn't work. But if I support you, whatever decision you make, I'm still going to be there to support you. I'm in a neutral place. Remember that when people ask you to help them. Discern the situation. Let them start to navigate through their own mental gymnastics to come up with a solution for their challenge or their growth experience. Will that help ADH? Absolutely. I got a girl over in Detroit. I'm supposed to go up there and do a workshop for their beauty salon. I'm not going to tell you the name she called her son, but he's been that way for 13 years. I mean, he has focus issues, but she called him a name. The principal called home the first day she gave him, wanted to find out what kind of medication did she give him. Because now he's been getting straight A's. Focused. It's a chemical imbalance. But he can't eat Fruit Loops. So thank God for Robert Kennedy cleaning up the the FDA. It's going to take about 2 years to get it out, but all those food dyes number 40, red dye number 40, and blue, yellow, all of that stuff hits the adrenal glands and it causes kids to lose it. They can't focus. They become hyper, jittery. The body can't handle those dyes. So all that synthetic stuff is now finally getting ready to come up out of the food chain. But again, it comes back to us. For me in my house, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with those 260 taste buds? If my tongue offend me, I got to do what? Any other question before we go? Yes, ma'am. A master class? This is a master class. Well, pastor starts standing up, then the wife stand up. I know I got to go. I could do this for days, all day, because I love it. I love watching, and I see the light bulbs come on when I look at you. And it's so many files in here. I mean, I have a honorary doctorate degree in naturopathic medicine, about 43 certifications. And I got all of this almost effortlessly, because this was my calling. And it's not work, because I can do it effortlessly. It's not work. And so I enjoy it. So I had to come back to my hometown to plant a seed because I'm getting ready to create an international platform. But there's no way that I can go out and take some of this knowledge and wisdom and plant it in other people's backyards without coming back here. And so make sure that there's a list where I have everybody's, where I have everybody's email, and I'll make sure that you get Alice and how to download that app. You can get that. We're going to set this other thing up. Who's the two ladies for the health and wellness? Okay. Okay. If we can get some callaloo, we might be able to do something. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Because there's a challenge going on between Jamaican callaloo and the Trinidadian. Oh yeah, it's a big difference, but they're both good. But I need some before I go back. Nobody out there talks about callaloo, unless I go to Atlanta. So that's your homework. You want a master class? Find a way to make some callaloo. Real simple. Any other question, comment?
What's callaloo?
It ain't nothing but spinach. Yes, ma'am. I'm up front.
So what's the sanitary pad that's good for like shorter cycles?
Oh, remember the Black Panther? The movie? You never saw it? But you know it's out there, right? We got vibranium in them. No, there's a little strip inside of these padding liners, and it's graphene that's in it. And this graphene, the moment it becomes moist and it touches the skin, it creates kinetic energy. That kinetic energy moves right up through your reproductive system, right over to the ovaries, and it just knocks out all the inflammation. The reason I have guys wearing them is because if they wear not boxers, but if they wear briefs, they put it on, and it would instantly starts to, in 20 minutes, it starts taking the swelling off of their prostate. So I have a guy, he has a construction crew, and he buys them by the cases from me because he has the guys put them in their boots, just the panty liners, not the daytimer. We have daytimers, night timers, heavy flow, and thongs. Oh, we everything covered. But when you put them in your boots, you can have a herniated disc, torn rotator cuff. You can work all day and no pain. I'm telling you, we got some technology. I just need people that's ready to step to the other side of health. The only reason why people don't step to the other side because they attach to the narrative from the other side. How much significance will I have if I can't talk about how much medicines I'm taking every day? How much significance can I have if I don't complain about my high blood pressure, my diabetes? I mean, people literally wake up every day talking about this is the thing. Okay, I got one question for you. Why do we sit and watch a commercial that tells us that this product is going to cause all 1,500 problems in my body, and we got it on the kitchen table, and we will get up and go take it? Why? I'm going to say this, and then I'm going for real. Eli Lilly is one of the largest drug companies in the world. Okay? Eli Lilly stated that in order for a substance to be classified as a drug, aspirin, any drug, it has to stop 50 to 75 naturally occurring enzymatic functions of the body. So that means God got some natural enzymes in here to function in a certain way, but this chemical, this drug, will stop 50 to 75 of those in order to make your body think that the problem you took it for is not there. So when you ask the question, well, where do you get something of this magnitude? You know, oh, the doctor. Where does he get telling you to go? To the pharmacist. You go to the pharmacist. Well, how did you guys learn how to do this, pharmacist? Oh, we study pharmacology. Oh, so now I got to go back and look at pharmacology. The Greek word, pharmakia. When I looked that up in the dictionary, it simply means, like, it's just spinach. It's just this, to practice sorcery or witchcraft. That's the study of psychology. Those are the people that's making these pills that's giving you to tell your body it's not doing what it's doing. So we are literally participating in witchcraft and sorcery. So you say, well, what am I going to do? Well, where's your allegiance? Where's your power? Who'd you give your power to? Because all you got to do is get back in alignment. If it's high blood pressure, all I got to do is go back and let's let it go and decide to walk with joy and peace. If it's cancer, I just need to walk across the bridge of forgiveness and forgive them, forgive the situation, forgive myself. It's easy. It's hard to have a disease. It's hard to stay out of alignment. It's easy to get back. Just repent to yourself and then tell God, thank you for his grace. And say, what else is possible? What else is possible? Lock that in. What else is possible? We did this, now what else is possible? Okay.
Natalie wanted to know, she wanted to know where she can get all this, all your products.
The wellness ministry. That's where you can get them. Right, Pastor? Yeah, GFit. Come on up. Yeah.
I was making sure because you ended like 5 times. Thank y'all for giving them a round of applause. We have to ask y'all. So, yeah, you can stand on your feet, give them a round of applause because y'all here. If we had regular EC class, y'all would have been gone.
Oh, really?
This is how much people is really interested in their health. And so, yes, we're working out something with him to partner up with him for all those products through GFit, health and wellness, all that kind of stuff. So I currently got some of the stuff. I bought some of the stuff when I went to a night he did for men. And I got some things. I got some things too. The sleepy stuff because I never sleep. And some cell rejuvenating stuff. So I'm all into the health stuff. So I wouldn't have brought him here if when we talked, it was the presence of God giving more perspective on our divine alignment. And so I can't even talk because if I start talking, we'll be here another hour on this stuff because God wants us transformed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like God is a transforming God. And we've been watering him down. But like I said, with our stinking thinking, the way we think, the way it's like there's other perspective that takes us out of the box. And this is just another journey on our journey to divine alignment. And so I did not, we met and we started talking, and he just started talking about divine alignment, I'm like, man, this is crazy. You're just repeating everything and adding another perspective. And I'm so excited about it because I was ready. I just started moving. And so I would like you to ask yourselves, what are you ready for? Are you ready for this to go straight down to your change? How long does it take for you to say yes to the other side of what you think you know? And we're going to keep on building. We're going to keep on building. Hopefully, I'm going to get them back. We're going to be back. And so Ajanya asked for a master class. I say, did you swallow today? No, because we are so addicted to somebody speaking and we do nothing. We just want to hear somebody speak to go home and do nothing. Speak, do nothing. But did you grab today? What got opened up today? What is the plan that you're going to go and do today? Church people have been doing this for years. They just want to hear somebody preach and go home and do nothing.
The stone, or you talking about the
So today, whatever God opened up today, yeah, we'll spend the money to bring them back if you go home and do something with today. We're going to bring them back for you not to go do nothing. And so the thing that I'm stuck on is not really the supplements. Is the who you are, the opening up your mind to who you are in God. All the things that's in our body that he already put there. And the scriptures is teaching us this stuff. And we hold God in this little small box. So I just pray that on our journey to divine alignment, this is just another door opening where God wants us to open up our minds. And now to me, let this mind be in you that was also, it's just a whole nother revelation on all the possibilities. You know, when I think of the problems that as a pastor, I hear everybody's problems. And I be like, they ain't even got no problems for real. If they look within themselves, they don't even realize how powerful they already are. That's why I want us to grow. I want us to grow because we got a world to save. We got a world to teach. You got to save your family. You got to be the one in your family to bring all this on. And it's not about this building. It's about your relationship with the Spirit of God. Like I said, my people perish. Same word we've been reading. Same word. All right, let's get out of here. All my cheerful givers, let's plant a seed today. We're gonna bless them. I'm gonna take us to church for a minute. We're gonna bless the man of God tonight with our seed. What we usually take in, we're gonna donate to him. Just thank you, because when I told him to come, he said, I'm coming. So all the cheerful givers, everybody, you know what we do on Wednesday. But tonight we're gonna gather all this offering. We're gonna bless him for just coming. And yeah, Still Glory Movement, just send it. We already said we was gonna do for him, but y'all can help us out. Was anybody elevated tonight? I believe like the most powerful form of encouragement is inspiration. I love inspiration because if I get inspiration, I can go take over the world. And so I hope that you have been inspired and made thirsty. You got to be thirsty for who you are. Like to become who God has created you to become, you got to be thirsty for that. It don't just happen. You got to be thirsty for that. And so I'm going to continue as a pastor to bring things that continue to inspire us to be the best versions of ourselves. Amen? Everybody give something, so we can bless. We're going to bring them back. You live in California, so if we can bring them back, then we got to fly them all the way back to do a master class. But we will have the products. We're going to do it through GFIT. I'm going to learn about them. Maybe I can get them to do some what you call that? Zooms. Some Zoom sometime to even speak on some other stuff, and we'll all be on there. I'll let y'all know. I'm going to let y'all know because I didn't took the stuff. And I'm going to be like, no. And I'm going to call them, be like, this stuff. But I'm taking some of this stuff now. So we done? We good? Anybody? Oh, the Cash App is $Glory Movements. $Glory Movements if you're sending anything through Cash App. Well, it looked like everybody did. Appreciate y'all for coming out tonight on Wednesday. It ain't normal. And I counted around 50 people, so we beat the number. Appreciate y'all for coming out. I know some people don't normally come out on Wednesday. Appreciate y'all for supporting your pastor. Anything else? I want to see the mentorship heads for 2 minutes. 2 minutes before you leave. Any other announcement we need? We good? All right, Father God, we thank you. We give you all the glory, honor, and praise, Lord God. Let everything we learned, Lord God, be saturated in our spirit, Lord God, and we be doers of what we just learned tonight, Lord God, as we give you all glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Bless somebody.